I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Scarborough.
Here.
Soul here. McCain.
Here.
Baldwin.
Here.
Olson. Here. Weststone. Dewey. Here.
Trustee Whetstone is absent this evening. This time I have public comment. Anybody would like to address the board may do so this time. And there is no public comment. We have a motion to approve the agenda, or do we have any amendments to it this evening?
Make a motion to approve it if there's no amendment.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved. Under new business, first item on the agenda this evening is the assessor's contract. The agreement that the assessor had is good through to August 1st. Last year we got kind of caught and ended up, this didn't get addressed. I talked to the assessors. They said that they would be willing to extend their contract again for the same price per parcel that it's been the last 2 or 3 years. And I said I would present it to the board. This would be an agreement for a term beginning August 1st of this year and ending July 31st of 2021, which is a 4-year contract at the same price per parcel over the next 4 years. So I said I would run it by the board, and I would make the motion to approve this contract and accept it. And
I'll second that.
and there is a second. Is there any discussion?
I think 4 years is great to continue current pricing.
One thing about these guys, I've been around, this is going into my 13th year, and since they've been on board, well, today the board of review met, I haven't had any issues like we had in prior years with some assessing issues. Anyone who questions anything, it is documented and can be backed up, and very seldom do they go to the taxpayer. And they're resolved here without an upset taxpayer, which is great. So we have a motion, it's been seconded. We have a roll call vote, please.
Scarborough.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Dewey.
Yes.
McCain.
Yes.
Soul, yes.
Motion carried. Second item is put out for bids for lawn care for the Township Hall and Cemetery. Kirk's been working on this.
In your packet, what I did is I just put copies of what we put in the paper last year for 16. If there's no issues with what we have in there, it'd be for the Township Hall and the cemetery. I'll get that in the paper. I don't want to put it in the paper until after the board made a decision. So, and that's basically the same quote we put out every year for dethatching and then mowing and the cleanup and then mowing and fertilizing and stuff. And same as the cemetery. So, if there's not any discussion on it, then I'll go ahead and get something in the paper.
I'd make a motion to go ahead and allow Kirk, go ahead and put this in paper and pursue this. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Second item is this year landfill coupons. To discuss if we want to continue that program this year again. And if so, is our coupons from previous years, or anybody want any changes, or how do we want to pursue this?
This is, in 2014, it cost us $6,972.80. 2015, it cost us, went down, it was $6,348.39, and 16, it went up $7,098.13. Our newsletter, last year for 16, cost us $292 to print a newsletter, so.
Was it the same amount of days? each
Yes,
year?
yes, yep.
I think it was awesome. I mean, it keeps our township clean. I mean, it's wonderful.
It certainly is.
The biggest complaint I have on it is the landfill's not open on Saturdays. And we have no say on that, that's their hours, so.
So I'd make a motion that we pursue this in the same manner we have in previous years, with the same amount, for the same amount of time.
I'll second.
And that second from Olson. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next item on the agenda is an update from Mr. Conway from Goslin Zubak on our wellhead protection plan.
Right on time.
It's not time to take that coat off. I'm Don Conway with Goslin Quebec Engineering to give an update on the updating of the wellhead protection plan. If you recall, I was here in December and provided a description of what the program was and why it's being updated at the request of the DEQ. The township currently has a grant through the state, and one of the requirements of the grant contract is to have quarterly updates so that the team, which is the board, knows what's going on with the program, and we just let the state know that progress is being made. The two major components that are being updated this year in the wellhead protection program is the contaminant source inventory. Remember, the wellhead protection area is the area of water that's supplying our supply well. And we look at potential sources of contamination within that wellhead protection area and then in near proximity to that. That update of potential sources of contamination has been completed. It'll be completed this month. It's going through my final review. We've identified, and I'll present the details on that in a subsequent meeting. We'll have maps and tables and explain what we found. We haven't identified anything new of terrific concern, but that's what part of the process is to understand what's there and what we need to be aware of. Then the information from the contaminant source inventory is used as part of the evaluation for potential locations for a new well. If and when the township decides that it needs a new well, this is the process of evaluating different sites. One of the considerations is how safe that site is in terms of having water that may or may not be contaminated, or potential sources are in that area. So the development of the new well location plan will be taking place over the next 2 months. We have a plan from the previous work that was completed in 2010. At that time, we had identified and evaluated potential sites for new well locations, one being at the water tower property, about 39 Road. Another site would be just to expand the existing well field off Works Avenue. And at that time, the township property off of 34 Road, where the wastewater treatment plant is currently located, was on the list. In fact, there's now a wastewater treatment plant there, poses a risk that we have to manage. There's isolation requirements from supply wells, potential sources of contamination. I believe that the township has added property south of that, if I recall correctly. that we may want to put into consideration towards 13th Street. Am I recalling that correctly? If there's other locations, and I'll be communicating with Sierra about if there's any other properties we want to put into the analysis. And the analysis looks at those properties with respect to the water system, how easy it is to connect to the system, availability of properties, isolation distance requirements, potential sources of contamination, and it looks at the advantages and disadvantages of sites. So when the township goes to make that decision, you've got a ready-made list of good candidates or have screened out bad candidates on where that well may go. And that will be, other than getting a progress form update, that is the update. So the contaminant source inventory is completed. No screaming red flags have jumped out of it. And we're ready to move on to revising the new well location plan.
And you have a progress report that we have to sign?
I do. Everybody sign that, and then I'll submit that to the state as is required.
Any questions?
How often does the DEQ require this wellhead protection program?
They like, and I say like in the terms of the authority for them to force it is a little bit sketchy. They like to see it, the contaminant source inventory at least updated every 3 years. They've not been vigilant in making sure that that happens. So our last update was actually, I think, 2010 or 2009.
2008, we had the paperwork, was when we agreed on the last one.
Okay.
And I'm just curious, in 2008, and you just mentioned 10, so it seemed to take a while for us to get the grant and everything, and now this is,
Well, we got the grant then, and we created the contaminant source inventory and the new well location plan. We did all of that in 2008, 2009, 2010 timeframe, and this is the first update since then. Part of the motivations to do this now is for some communities, is that there's still grant funding of which the township took advantage of in 2008 through 2010 and is taking advantage of now. With budget discussions, there's serious concern that that grant funding isn't going to be around much longer. So that's one motivation to do things sooner than later, particularly if there's, when thoughts turn to new wells, being able to go through and have a new well locations evaluated and having it done partially funded by grants is another good reason to do it. Aside just from the whole philosophy of head protection, trying to keep track of what's going on in our wellhead protection area, what's at risk. Just the general concept of trying to be a good steward of an important resource.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next item was our SAW grant. Last month I gave you all copies of 3 different proposals to administer our SAW grant. And after you reviewed all of those, you came up, the lowest proposal was with our engineers, so current engineers, Gosman and Levi. And they are aware of, they are more than qualified to manage that SAW grant, and I would make a motion to award them that contract. Seconded by Dewey. Do we have any further discussion on this? If not, do we have a roll call vote, please?
Excuse me.
You need a second.
Big government. Scarborough. Yes. Dewey.
Yes.
McCain.
Yes.
So, yes. Baldwin.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Reports. Beth's report.
Everybody should have a copy.
Do you have anything to add to your report, Beth?
Nope.
Any questions for Beth? Not, we will move on to clerk's report.
In either the end of 2017 or 2018, the state will be updating our voting equipment. Lynn and I went down to Reed City. They had 3 vendors down there. We went down there on March 7th to look at the different equipment that the county will have to pay. And then we had election training here, state election training here, March 7th and 8th. And then on March 7th, we had a vendor come in here and show us some equipment. And we had most of the Wexford County clerks show up and look things over. And I had on 3/17, I had a winter bear, first one I've had before in the winter. That's all I've got. And the liquor inspection, everything's fine in the township.
Okay, thank you. Zoning administrator's report, Mike's report. Anything to add? Any questions for Mike? Thank you. He did provide us with a proposal of some fee changes, and I will put that on our agenda for our next finance committee meeting. We'll discuss it and then bring it back to the board. Fire chief?
For the month, we have a total of 8 runs, and 2 down lines, 2 smell of smokes, 1 service call, and 3 mutual aids, 1 being with Cedar Creek, 1 with Selma, and 1 with Colfax. Other than that, nothing else.
Any questions? Did you get your new pickup truck yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Where are we? County Commissioner. We have Commissioner Nichols with us.
Okay. Well, as always, thank you for this opportunity. One of the big presentations we have coming up again is Boone Management Sports is coming to speak to the board again and presenting some more information. That seems, I don't want to call it a hot topic, but that's something that we're working on with Boone Management. I personally would love to hear from Township, your board, individually about your feelings of the WEX. I've talked to lots and lots of people. I've gotten emails, I've gotten phone calls, and I've gotten a letter of people supporting it and wanting it to stay. It's a wonderful asset to our community, and that's what I'm getting from the people. So, but I'd love to hear your input at some point, and you can call me up, or you can just, email me, go through the county and email me if you'd like. So that seems to be one big thing we're talking about. A few new policies that we're going to be discussing Wednesday night. One has to do with trespassing and safety at the courthouse. And that's just a policy that's going to be discussed on Wednesday night. I can tell you more about it after that. As far as, I've just taken it upon myself to visit some of these places, and I spent some time at the WEX the other day. Actually twice, over to the hockey rink, spent some time there, and then I went over to the RV show, and so I'm trying to acclimate myself. And then the other thing I did, watching the new jail, which is at 48%, 48% right now, still looking at being done in November. We're having a tour of the new jail. The commissioners are this week on Friday, but I'd never toured the old jail. So I asked the sheriff and the corrections officer the other day, who's in charge of them, if I could tour that. And they took me with them, and I got a tour of the old jail. Inmates and everything. And 4 of them were prior students of mine. Hello, Mrs. Nichols. Hello. But anyway, seeing that first, I know. Seeing it firsthand we just really are grateful for the new jail being put up. I am as a citizen, just to see what they put up with in that 60-year-old building. Still don't know what's going to happen to the old building. I have no idea on that. But anytime you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And I would love your input at some point about the WEX. what you feel personally, because, you know, everybody's got a different opinion, comes from a different angle. But I'd love to hear that as your commissioner, to be able to take that back. Okay.
Any questions for you? Thank you.
Okay, thanks, so I'm gonna dismiss myself, because
Appreciate you
I'm gonna
coming.
go home.
We have our monthly operations report from Sierra Infrastructure Alternatives.
I don't know if anyone's had an opportunity to really go through it or not. We had some interesting call-outs this last month. First one there, the drinking water. When somebody calls in February with no water, you get kind of scared thinking things are finally freezing up, but that wasn't the case. It's just a little bit of construction going, but you'll see there after the wastewater, or during the wastewater, we've got a lot of the same old there, but down below is other. Received a phone call about an open manhole on 13th, where those new lift stations are being put in, and a contractor that's down there doing work apparently removed it, looked down to see what it was, and then just walked away, I guess. It's kind of the word I got. We ended up putting it back together. I spoke with the office staff of the contractor, was told I would be receiving some sort of phone call back. I have yet to hear back from them. And then you'll see there on the 24th, we got a phone call about a sinkhole out in front of J.C. Penney's, which was an interesting morning as well. The next page there, just, you know, we've got this new connection all finalized here, right out the window. We're continuing to run kind of the well, that way that I described there, maybe last meeting or the meeting before, where we would close the valve here, trying to push everything kind of this way. Any difference you guys notice where you live? No? We're seeing a little bit of difference in some testing that we're doing. We don't know if it's a good sign of an aesthetic quality improvement or not, but we have seen some difference. We also had fire chief out to the wastewater plant for some confined space training. If we ever enter confined space, we'll get a hold of these guys, let them know that we're going to do that, and he was able to sit in with us and basically get cross-trained so that the guy up top ever needs to make a phone call, they'll know exactly what's going on. And then the rest is just your facilities reports there.
One other thing Sierra and I are working on is our irrigation resolution. We had written a year or so ago, there's a couple things on it that we wanted to tweak. We about got that done, and it will be ready on the April agenda for review. So we'll have that up and ready to go by the time someone would like to use that.
And something else I guess I should also mention is we have posted the water quality report for 2016 up at the board right out front here, the updated one with a notice of hydrant flushing when we're going to be doing that as well. Yeah.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. Okay. Approval of the regular board meeting minutes, February 13th, 2017. We have a motion to approve the minutes. Motion by Dewey, seconded by Olson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay, approval of the check register. The general fund number 28051 through 28119, direct deposits 220 through 224, and EFTs 123 and 124 in the amount of $41,994.77. and the operation and maintenance funds, number 2431 through 2443, in the amount of $37,405.16.
I make a motion to accept.
We have a motion to approve the check register. Do we have a second?
Second.
Dewey? Okay. All right, any discussion? If not, may we have a roll call vote?
So, yes, Dewey,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
McCain,
Yes.
Baldwin,
Yes.
Scarborough.
Yes. Okay. Communication education, and part of your, I put a kind of a handout of the WEX in everybody's box. What that was the profit loss summary from May of last year through January. And then this was there's also some information there from 2007 through 2009, I believe it was. As to transfers from the general fund into that. There's been some talk of some curiosity as whether the township might be interested in the WEX. That's just some information for you to review for a discussion at a further future date. Also, I gave everybody an assessment of our facilities, assessment of facilities report from March of 2015. It's 2 years old. You new guys and everybody, I'd like you to review this again, because we're going to be updating this and looking at things we've accomplished and kind of formulate a plan for moving forward as to what we'd like to see as a priority and what we want to do over the next 2 years. So everybody got a copy of that. Also, I included put in your box this contract. It's the operation and maintenance agreement for water distribution and wastewater collection and treatment. This is the current agreement between Infrastructure Alternatives and Haring Township. Their contract is up at the end of this year, and we would like to change a couple of the things on this contract. Sierra and I've talked about it a couple times, but we would like to kind of get this in order and get it taken care of before it expires in December. So that's something else I'd like for you to look at, and we'll be going through it and updating it, and so keep track of this and review it if you would. And I believe that is all I had. Any other communication? Education things? If not, we have public comment. Anybody would like to address the board? Not a board comment. Next board meeting is April the 10th. Beth won't be here, she'll be in Florida.
Oh, Vegas.
Again. Oh, Florida's the week after.
Florida's March.
Florida's next week.
Yeah.
Okay. So, any other board comments? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Yeah.
Aye.
We're adjourned at 6:29.
6:28. Let's
Okay.
get it done.
Did we make, we can do it?
Okay, thank you.